It is now time for Immortals versus Renegades here in the final week of the Pro League Season 5 here in North America, and we do have quite a bout for you guys. We're going into Immortals Renegades, and it's going to be battled out over Mirage in the first map. Let me go ahead and bring my co-host here into the fold. Mr. Vendetta, are we going to have a good matchup on our hands? I
think we should have a decent matchup on our hand. Immortals going to a map that they don't necessarily play a whole lot, which incidentally Renegades happen to play quite a bit. So, you know, Australians having a fair chance of actually making doing some damage here.
Well, as if they need any more introduction than they already have, let's take a look now at the Immortals lineup. Bolts, Henny, Lucas, Steele, FNX. Now, I had the pleasure of pretty much hanging out with these guys this weekend, and these guys are on their A game right now.
Yeah, no, they're definitely feeling good, and kind of what's cool, obviously got to talk a bit to Steele over the weekend as well, you know, regarding their map choices and probably why they ended up on going with the Mirage here is that kind of just looked at their opponents, saw that maybe Renegades not having the best time on the Mirages of late. You know, last couple of games have been a bit rough for them, albeit versus teams like SK and so on, but still counts. So, you know, got a bit of insight as to how Immortals, you know, process this entire veto phase and everything, and like how they go about things.
And how they go about things. Well, let's talk about the Renegades now. Without doing that, we kind of have to look at the roster first, huh?
Yeah, so Azure, JKS, Ustilo, Nexa, and Nifty. Rounding out that roster, going from being full Australian to being Mr. Worldwide in that sense. But Nexa and Nifty so far doing pretty well for themselves in being the new additions to the lineup. Nifty stepping in as the full-time AWPer, kind of alleviating some pressure from JKS, who was kind of dabbling with that role. In the meantime, you know, with Yam and Ricky gone from the lineup, they've been seeming to gel well. Didn't have the greatest of time in back home in Sydney this past weekend, but still, you know, the trajectory has been positive for this team.
That's good to know. Well, we're going to do predictions, and actually, to even do that, I'm going to bring in the commentators as well because I know they're over there and they really want to hang out with us. Let's do predictions right here on Mirage. Vanilla, let's start with you.
I'm actually going to side with Immortals, partly because the Renegades haven't had the best of time on the Mirage. So even though they played quite a bit more than Immortals does, I think Immortals have been looking all right on it. And also, you know, we have to consider the fact that the Australians just came back from Sydney.
That is very much true. And Blue, please bestow that wisdom upon us.
No, this one's a lot more decisive. I think Immortals are going to take this one pretty clearly, not just because of the overall team prowess, but considering like what's on the line here. Immortals can 100% secure their position at Dallas if they just take, I think
only one map.
Yeah, I think they only need one map, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if they just take one map tonight, they can secure it. So I'm pretty sure they're going to want to do that right here, right now, and just not even have to worry about their other set as much.
Well, there you have it. I'd ask Sam, but we know how that's going to go. So we're going to just throw it over to you guys as is, and you guys can take it from here.
All right. Thank you very much, Stunna. And it does look like the players are almost ready to go, so it should just be a few seconds before we are ready to hop into the match. But looking at it overall here, how do you see this matchup going?
You guys are killing me, man. We couldn't have delayed this 2 minutes. We got Rocket Spurs, overtime. There's 1:25 left, and Rockets are up 2.
It's more important things going on here.
I don't know, man. This is like 2 minutes.
This is playoff contention. This is Dallas playoffs right here.
True, true. We are going live, though. So take it over for the Piston Round Blue.
So you keep up with it.
2 minutes, man. 2 minutes.
All right, getting into the match.
It's a very important game.
Getting into the match here now. We can see the Renegades going for a 4-1 split in the opener. Just leaving mid wide open, which is going to let Lucas make this aggressive play through underpass. Pushing himself forward. He's already done some decent damage to Azure. None of it's been returned onto him. FNX even taking the close-up battle by Palace to eliminate JKS. And there you go. Full control of A has been restored. They don't see any additional pressure working its way back in. So immediately we're seeing the rotates move over towards B. There's already 2 in the site. A third's in market. A fourth is going to be right outside of the crawl space leading into market in a moment here. So they're set up pretty well now. This is going to be rough for the Renegades as Immortals know exactly what they're planning to do. And there we go. They do execute towards it relatively quickly, and he's still holding in the sight, and Steele trying to support the best visibility. He's having trouble hitting those shots, though, but Lucas is going to fare much better as he picks up 3 in a row. Nifty trading onto 1 more, but that is actually not going to be the end of it just yet. The Teddy that finally leaps out from the sight and picks up that last kill that will finalize his pistol for the Immortals.
How in the world did Lucas just do that?
I don't know. We have to see this from his perspective. Well, there's one. Flicking over to... Okay, where's the third one at?
What?
They were lined up, I guess? I didn't even see the third guy.
That was crazy.
Well, there you go. That's one way to win it out, and the Immortals start off strong. Renegades not even getting themselves a plant, so they're just going to force right into the second round. Pass to towards top mid too. It's Henny, okay. Henny gets screwed up a little bit there by the smoke connecting onto him and is not able to finalize that kill into JKS. It's JKS at super long range that just takes down Henny inside of the window room. He will now be down at 1 HP as a result of it though. So must be very, very careful about his own position, but he's got more support working its way in from middle here. Azur boosting up a bit to try and spot in the window. Not going to see much. Nade going back down, doing a decent amount of damage to Azur and some of the others, but Lucas fighting Nifty. Lucas going in for JKS too. He's now down at 4 HP. Got dicked like twice through the wall, so he's going to be pretty low. Ustillo able to find one, but FNX in the A site trades out onto Nexa, and now the last two. They still have that mid control, but same as, 30 seconds ago, they don't have anything more than that just yet. And Azur in a moment here is going to find himself in a cross spray position where FNX capitalizes, takes down Azur. And for Ustillo, wrapping all the way around towards the ramp position, he actually still may be able to push into the site. Just basically has to win this 1v1 here. It actually might just be able to bypass that completely, depending on if FNX heard him or not. But I think he did at the last second when he made that jump there. So he should be watching out in the opposite direction. And he
jumps default, he gets the bomb down for sure.
Stilla moves in. He's got the position against Lucas here. Just can't hit the headshot, though, and is ultimately back out as Immortals do claim that second one. We are going to take another quick look at that pistol play, too, to see if we can get a better spot to find the third player.
Need X-ray on for this replay. Oh, he was right to the left.
Yeah, he was in the smoke.
Yeah, I mean, he just reaction flicked. Like, he wasn't even necessarily shooting at him. That's pretty crazy, though. Lucas, man, I'm telling you, this guy's nuts.
Well, now we do have Henny taking a risk this time as well. He's got to be careful, though, because up on top, there's quite a few players that can just leap down and overwhelm him. But they don't decide to do that. They, in fact, just completely back up from this push into the B halls entirely. They're going to work their way outside. Obviously, third round, not buying anything at all. Basically a trash round here for the Renegades. Just waiting up for the first gun round. Flashbang move back out there. Actually does flash Henny quite a bit. Still able to hold dice control. And with the support from Lucas further back, picks up 2 kills before going down. Even ends up with the assist on Nifty too. In the meanwhile, though, with all of this distraction happening at mid, it's actually a pretty well thought out plan. As it at the very least lets JKS move back in and find that plan, of which they'd gotten none before this. So it gives them a little bit of extra cash. Should let them have a little bit of extra utility and whatnot going into the first gun round.
Yeah, it was a nice plan by them to get the bomb down. Just at least you get something there. Killing the bomb plant. I'm more than happy with that if you just have Glocks.
Yeah. Yeah, no utility sitting behind it either. It was just basically a full save. So they're going to end up, as you can see now, full utility in this round. Mollies and all that. Nifty, a bit of a delayed decision to decide if he's actually going to go for the off pickup or not, but he does decide to go towards it. So they'll have full buy potential not only with AKs, but the op as well. Going into this first gun round now, with Immortals obviously still working with a few UMPs and whatnot. They're going to be a little bit less well off here in terms of their overall gun power, but they have a lot more money left over in their bank for some of the following rounds. Henny got really aggressive, though, early on here, jumping inside of Palace, and he almost found himself in an early battle with JKS. JKS held before he actually went fully into the Palace room, though. So he's going to end up backing up, and we won't see that battle with Henny against anyone anytime soon. The rest of the team is still forming up their positions over towards top mid. And Lucas, holding on Cat as well here, will look to challenge some of this when they do move in to take that control. But Nifty paying close attention. Immortals will have to be very, very careful if they do decide to get aggressive here, as Renegades already have a dangerous amount of control in mid. Now it's going to be more so about trying to follow through with it and getting it out onto a site. Nice shot from Azur. Saw Lucas firing off a couple shots to counter out some of that connector pressure, but immediately spins back around. And just 2 bullets are enough. One being the headshot connection to take out Lucas. Now Henny, though, this should work out great for him as he pushes back in, but he misses, and JKS immediately snapshots onto Henny, taking him out. Now still trying to push forward. He will catch that trade against Nexa, but it's after Nexa finds a kill onto FNX. Now Bolt tries to hold inside of ramp, but it's going to be so low. And just moments later, Ustillo moves in for the final kill, putting the Renegades up on the board immediately in the first gun round.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching Renegades, and ever since they made these lineup changes, they've really improved, right? But then we saw none of that at IEM Sydney. None of it. At Sydney, I mean, they were able to beat the Chinese team Vici, but they lost to Chiefs, FaZe, and Astralis, and they lost 16-3, 16-4, and 16-5.
They're not even the best Australian team anymore. Yeah, they just got good actual TV ratings.
But, I mean, they looked great online.
So that begs the question how that is going to translate to some lands in the future, because they're focusing heavily on the major run again.
True.
So I was confident though when I did the interview with him earlier. It was like 5 hours ago or so. He was saying, you know, obviously not sure how much of this is like prop up talk and how much of it is, you know, actually what he's feeling, but seemed pretty confident in his team's ability to like do well, not only just in this upcoming land, but moving into some of the other ones too. And there's a good shot from JKS. Just stays out a little bit too far though, and FNX is able to trade that right back. FNX is going to be down at 50 HP after the fact, so leaves us into another 4v4. But the Renegades pushing into the back B halls. Probably going to end up following through at the B hit pretty soon. The thing is, though, again, Immortals have read into this. They still have a consistent 2 in the site. And they can pretty quickly rotate over Bolts if needed as well. So this could end up being another very, very messy push. Bolts, there you go, immediately finding Nexa back on mid. Lucas, close up the challenge. He's going to be there with a pistol, but nobody's checked through his position. And what's even worse, Steel, they get that first kill. They trade him back out, but now look, he's got Nifty right in front of him here. Easily knocks him back out and follows through with the second one as well. Quick closeout on the round for the Immortals, as now they're right back in control, 4-1.
Great patience from Lucas. Perfectly played. Absolutely perfect.
Doesn't flinch for a minute there, despite losing his teammate. Potential for him to get checked at any second there, but it all works out at the end of the day. And now, like I said, they're right back in control as the Renegades are back down onto another eco round. Just Tech 9 armor is the biggest buy they're going to have. Next with a Deagle, a few P250s besides that, and spared amounts of utility. 2 smokes and 1 flash. That's it. So not going to be looking too good. Not really trying to play it together either. They're all split up across the map. FNX quickly taking back top mid control, and it's just going to deny Renegades that right at the start of the round. As they send the rest of the Renegades back over here towards ramp. So they do end up at the end of the first couple seconds here, grouping back up, and we're going to go for this sort of all-in hit. Flashbang initially is great. Bolts, greater nade though against Ustillo. I think that pretty much 100 HP nades him. Nifty trying to jump through, jumps a little bit too far forward and ends up outside of the smoke. So they know he's somewhere around the sandwich here. Bulldozer though moving its way back in, but Henny ends up with a double kill against Azur and Nexa, and then even hits the final shot against JKS as well. Nicely played. Stems the tide. Good attempt from Renegades to brute force the pressure, but Immortals were just too well stacked up by Jungle there.
Double up setup now for Immortals. FNX gonna wield it. You know, this is something that seems to change map to map, kind of. Sometimes it's Steel, sometimes FNX will grab it. I think I've seen Bolts use it as well.
This big spray right at the start. Once again, trying to deny that top mid pressure, which has been a big focal point for them. It seems to have been working out okay. Doesn't really hold them back so much this time though, as just delays things a little bit. And Henny out on Cat, tries to go for the no-scope shot, and now more importantly trying to escape, but when he got tagged, he got slowed down, and that pretty much spells his own doom. Before he went down though, FNX picks up 1 kill, but then overstays his welcome, continues to try and play aggressively up close. Now Lucas needs to save the day, but nobody's looking towards Jungle right now. Gets that 1 kill for free. He's a little bit under pressure now though, as he's being pinched from 2 separate sides. And in this next battle, wins it out again. Now he's up against Azur, already knows he's here, and does great damage to him before going down. Azur's now alone. He's only got 5 HP. And he's being pinched from separate sides. Bolts will finish it off from within inside of this site. And there you have it. Another round for the Immortals. They're up to 6-1. Great stuff from Lucas.
Again, man, this guy's just dominating.
So that's going to prompt a pause from the Renegades here now. Down just 5 rounds at this point, but it's been a very consistent 5 rounds. Renegades, you know, they seem to have a good style to their executes. They're lining them up quite well. It's just as soon as they push into the sites, just these huge individual plays time and time again from the Immortals that keep crushing them.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the winning 1 round and then losing that round, the next round, especially off a pretty low buy, right, where Lucas just, I mean, he only had a P250. He's able to close it out. So we see 6-1. I assume they're going to save here. But Immortals doesn't have the best economy. You know, everybody's pretty much fully bought out except for Bolts and Steel. So Renegades could still have a chance to, you know, break their economy a little bit later in this half for sure. I'm assuming they will save here. It's tough, like when you go to a LAN and you do really, really poorly like that, and you just get crushed. It's really tough to just come back and be like super motivated and play your best. It really is. You have to have a lot of just like mental fortitude. You have to be very resilient and just focus on like improving and getting better. But a lot of teams, you know, when that happens to them and they go to a LAN and they perform that poorly, they come back and they just lose all sense of motivation for a couple weeks until they kind of, you know, rebuild it back.
So now the Renegades are, as you mentioned, going to be onto a save here. There's a few deagles. Once again, the one Tech 9 armor purchase on Azur, and they're moving pretty quickly across the map here. Problem is again, Immortals are just ready to take those fights, regardless of what the Renegades' own plans are going to be. Steel just pushing forward inside of the apartments, even re-smoking it now after he throws it that little bit of aggression. The rest of the Renegades split up across the map, definitely focusing more on the B side of it currently. Henny, I'm not sure if he spotted Azur a moment ago, but definitely not too keen on taking that duel. Calls it out for bolts, but Azur still swings back in with the Tech 9, knocking him out of the picture, bringing this back down to another 4v4. They got a lot more work to do, though, besides just evening this back up. As you still have Steel pushing aggressively, he isolates the pressure in the back B halls. Henny finds the kill into Azur, bringing away that threat now. They have another guy with the deagle trying to push out towards Palace, but again, he doesn't really have any utility to get himself safely out from Palace. So he's just crushed by the op when he attempts to go for it, and the same fate will be had of Nifty.
It's another clean round for Immortals, basically. And he's still on that op. He has a really good spawn, too, so we'll see if he peeks connector, maybe pushes A halls again. Maybe just peeks A ramp, actually, and holds it. Does look like he's jumping into A halls, though.
Yep, he's going to go for it.
It's a really interesting way of picking it. You see he just, like, runs forward and jumps to the left. But the T beats you there if he has a good spawn.
Azur is going to beat out Steel, though, at the beginning of this fight here. They both just double peek. Lucas ready for this one, though. He's already knocked out one of the players. The second one very low, and he almost knocked himself out with the nade there, but he was smart to fall back inside where he has a little bit more coverage. Use the smoke, too, to give him a bit more surface area to safely navigate around. The elimination of JKS, though, leaves us into a 3v3, and actually, I think Lucas just assumes it's safe and that he completely fell back. That's definitely not the case, and he's not going to see him on the left side. Azur punishes, catches the trade. All of a sudden, the site's wide open for his teammates to push back into, but it's only going to be that way for a few seconds here. Azur trying to push forward, finds himself in the battle versus FNX, but he's already extremely low. It's an easy battle for FNX to win, making more of these long-range duels, sees them going into the site, so it can call for the full rotate. They'll still be able to get the plant onto the ground, mainly due to FNX not wanting to directly challenge this, but the Immortals, great position to try and shut this back down. Henny immediately just spots out Nifty, catches him trying to peek back against him, and now with only one left, Nexa won't get anything done either. Clean sweep up for the Immortals, and they're going up to 8.
Really good play by Azur there. I actually think, who do you think Renegade's best player is?
Probably Azur.
Think so?
Yeah, I'd say Azur right now.
I would say JKS and then Azur. I really like the way JKS plays, especially in a lot of the roles that he has on CT side. I think they're really difficult roles a lot of the time. Does a really good job at it. But Azur, I think he's really good on T side especially.
I think Azur's a really smart player, personally, in the way that he plays in a lot of these like clutch situations.
Yeah, Azur's very impressive.
He's really risen up over the last like 6 to 8 months as well. Especially when you look at his performance like last season, and then it carried through pretty well into the later part of this season. There was that like, I know the analysts talk about it, there's like that weird bump this season where the whole team was just doing really bad, but like, they sort of came back into form towards the end here.
So what did they do here? Right side smokes, then they wait and just re-exec maybe, try to bait out some nades, and then re-exec, I'd assume.
I believe so. So now they are going to line back up for it. Obviously waiting for the smokes inside of ramp to fade away before they go for the execution, but being very straightforward here right now as their own smokes do start to move back in, covering off jungle, steps is where most of the smokes are going to move towards. They're not going to try to smoke back off towards CT or anything like that, which leaves bolts in the open here, but he just gets destroyed by, oh my god, JKS finds bolts and then swings to get a kill into FNX back by Ticket too. Lucas catching a trade as the smoke setup is actually slightly imperfect. Henny can see a little bit through the steps on this one and just trying to wallbang them. He hits a few shots as well. Just not enough to take him out of the play just yet. He's only going to go down to 46 HP, as he also, I imagine, has some assistance from teammates. There's Henny though, hitting the, oh! And then we see actually that steal that comes in and hits that one against you, Steelo. Steelo. But it's going to be 2 left alive here for the Renegades, one of which is working for a flank. Azur creeping back up against this. He should have a lineup to be able to take him down. It's a messy spray, though, and they're already defusing the bomb. He needs to find these kills a lot quicker than that, and he's not going to be able to do it. Moves in, picks up the 1 more kill, but Steel is going to be able to close out on Azur, and there we go. It's the Immortals once again with quick control.
I mean, 2 immediate entries come out from JKS, running out of the halls. Really nice shots by him. And the 3v5 scenario, Lucas gets a kill, maybe through the smokes. Henny, I'm not sure even where he peeked to get that first one, and then the guy stuck behind the box. But, you know, Renegades 3v5, their best opportunity of this half besides, you know, the round that they won, still not able to capitalize. They are going to get a bye here, but it's not great. FNX chilling in the underpass. They don't even know, I don't think.
Henny went into Palace again, too, so he knows that's clear.
That's what, 3rd time this half he's done it?
Mm-hmm. He may have done it more, we just might not have noticed it either.
All on gun rounds, though, and that's like huge information.
Every time he's gone in there, it's been just empty. So I don't even think I think there's only been 1 or 2 rounds where Renegades have actually gone into Palace initially. For the most part, they've either just been not sending anyone towards A or going primarily just for ramp. So we do have Ustilla with this big flank, though, as he's managed to push his way all the way through now. They got jungle control and whatnot, and pushing back up. It's an easy kill into Bolts, so lining that one up, taking him out of the play. Henny, though, still has the Palace spot, and this is big. I'm not sure if they're going to be set up to counter this out just yet, or even expecting him, since he's been relatively quiet. But they have seen him pushed in here before, so it's not going to be completely out of the question to expect him. Misses that shot, back through the Molotov, just barely going to make it out with 10 HP. Azur picking up another kill at the steps after Steel moved in to take down Ustilla, and now the CT players have pushed back in. Mind you, the bomb not even going down just yet. This is a little bit over-aggressive from the Immortals. Henny can't really do much. Steel trying to save this one, gets 1 more kill, but unfortunately traded after that. Now leaves us all into Henny in a 1v2 scenario as he tries to push back up, gets himself to Tetris for free. And moving forward, just can't find any members of the Renegades out into the open. Finally getting that one, though, and now he's going to be pushed by Azur in a moment. The volley going out in front of him, buys him a little bit more real estate to push back forward, but he's not going to be able to spot him just up on top. Doesn't see him beyond the flames, and at the end of the day, Azur has the high ground. He shuts down Henny, and the Renegades will finally get themselves a 2nd round.
Yeah, but what do I always say in these situations, Blue?
What's that?
They won the round in like the worst possible way, because now they could still just get reset right after. They win the round with only 1 player. We saw them get reset earlier in the half. They have a bye with 3 umps and op and an AK. But then again, Immortals, you know, they kept their economy pretty low. So I guess they are in a pretty decent spot. I didn't think Immortals would have this little money after being up 9-1.
Yeah, just Deagle, CZ, shotgun, 1 op, showing up there along with the M4 for Henny. Another interesting note there, too, is that the op is actually not in Henny's hands right now. It's FNX that chooses to play with it, as he's going to be able to hold the position over here at B. And he's been much more focused at A, and this time more specifically, he's going to be playing over towards mid again, but immediately knocked back out. That molly spreads at the last second up onto the higher part of the connector, and it burns him out after damage was already done by Ustilla. At range with that UMP. So really 5v4 for the Renegades here now, trying to capitalize upon it. Kill just happening in mid. It opens up a pathway for them to try and push into the A bomb site. But it's still going to be a bit of a rough road. You got 3 players stacked inside there compared to only 1 over here at B. The slow movements from these Ts to try and blend mollies and everywhere out to make sure that their actual push is going to be clean. They even send more players from the CT side back over here towards B, but that may not necessarily be the bad call, as Renegades are starting to push back in that direction. Lucas has found a kill in mid. Bolts just barely gets one with the CZ, and it's right before he's burned back out, too, so they're not going to be able to reconfirm that A is open. This is the issue, though, is it's going to pull more of the CTs away from B over towards A, just because they're curious about it. And Steel, super long range, but he hits that one, jumps into another one, and then jumps again to finish off Nexa. Traded up by Nifty finally, but now it's only Nifty left alive, as the shotgun just did massive damage up onto the site. Nifty with low time is going to go for the plant, but immediately FNX gets right up into Nifty's face, shuts him out with a shotgun, and it's another win for the Immortals.
And off those big individual plays that you were talking about before, Steel with a mag 7 just plays it perfectly. Look at how long he waits after he sees him. Just so well played by him. See how he didn't jump, like he saw him and then he waited like 3 seconds so that they were committed before he started fighting.
And this is where the complete break comes in for the Renegades. Immortals with that bit of a scrap by. We were both kind of worried about if they were going to be able to win this one out. But it works out, and now Renegades end up on a really, really bad buy. Just 2 players not even buying anything at all with Glocks. And PT50s and 2 Tech-9s are all they're going to end up with. Fast play outside of the Palace, but this is just an absolute shutdown. FNX, Bolts, Henny, all getting kills here. Nifty sneaking in for 1. He even gets a second, too, as Bolts fails to read his ammo counter there. But Nifty already down to 14 HP. So the round itself definitely going to be going, by the way, the Immortals just taking 1 or 2 more losses than they may have been expecting. And even now, buying for the Renegades is going to be a little bit of an issue here. As a few of their players were sitting around like 37. A lot of the players are sitting just below 4K, which is enough to get them like the AK or the Galil, but it's not enough to get them utility. That's going to be very evident when you look at the actual buy that they do get going in here. Everybody's emptying out their banks entirely, but the results don't really speak too well. 3 AKs, 1 UMP on Nexen. He has the most utility. You still having to go for a Galil, and even then, he only gets 1 smoke for himself. So very, very low utility for Renegades, and basically having to rely on their entry power alone to get stuff done in this round here. But they did choose to force it. Henny's going to end up in a pretty bad spot if he doesn't get himself into connector, but at the last second does get himself inside. Not only that, Bolts counters at the first bit of aggression. JKS trying to push out from the Palace, misses it. Henny slow to react though when he does catch the players pushing out from the underpass. And when he does take the shot, it's far too late. So it's going to let Renegades move back out and take full bot mid control. Great spray from FNX though, through the smoke, knocking out Azur. Trade from Nifty. FNX still alive and well though, and even gets support from Henny to stop out more of that pressure from pushing him outside of the dark room. FNX finalizing the last kill. Another clean round from the Immortals as they push up to 12 going into the last round of the half.
Pretty dominant so far. Just winning the rounds they really need to win. Immortals does both times. And then on every other round, just clean. You know, besides the two rounds that they lost, just really clean rounds. Now we're going to see Renegades just gets full Tech-9 armor, a couple Deagles, a lot of utility to work with. 2 outside A ramp, 1 A halls, 1 back mid, and 1 holding B. So despite limited utility, kind of a default.
And Henny aggressively inside again. Oh, gets the wide flick as well on the JKS. And then he goes back in. Almost looks like he connects the shot, but Nifty just barely saving his own life. Bolts finding additional impact outside, though, and now they are trying to push back in, but they make it work somehow with just a Tech-9 and the Deagle. Nifty and Nexa pick up those 2 more kills. That's A, site control. Going to try to get the bomb down and start this timer, but they have very, very limited control after they've lost Azur here. Just look at the health pools for the 2 remaining players on the Renegades. Nexa sitting at 30, Nifty at 1. So he's going to have to be very, very creative with what he tries to do with his very low HP. And we can see he tries to wrap around towards CT, but there's really no safe path. He can't put himself into a good position, so just adding a bit of support utility. Nexa hitting the Deagle shot, tries to go for the second one, but in fact it's Nifty that comes in at the last second to close out with the M4. So we do see 1 more round for the Renegades as they brute force their way into the A-bomb site, and it pays off. And still 12-3. It's a very dominant first half for the Immortals, and the Renegades have a lot of work to do if they want to make a comeback.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. It's currently 12-3 for the Immortals. We're well into our second set of the evening, and unfortunately for the Renegades, their first half on T side has not gone too well at all, to say the least. Immortals with crushing individual plays, along with just not really a whole lot happening on eco rounds for the Renegades, has led to a very dominant first half for them.
Yeah, I mean, the rounds they won, right? They won with only, I think, one alive one of the rounds. The last round they're able to pick up there. I was a bit surprised by that. You know, they have the Deagles, they got the Tech 9s. They kind of do a map control type thing where they have, you know, not a default setup, but they have the 2A ramp, 1A halls, and then 1 mid, 1 B. Very, you know, odd way of setting up in a round like that, but it works out for them. They hit some nice shots, some nice 1Ds. Able to plant and win that round. But Immortals is still just in such a dominant position. I mean...
Yeah, basically they win the pistol round and they need like 1 gun round and then they win.
Yeah. If they win the pistol round, Immortals will just force up the whole way through.
So early on, run boost. Let's see. Is there anyone in mid to counter out? Yeah, there is. He's just going to get pushed back, though. So nice little run boost. Gets them early pressure in mid and holds back the Renegades a tad. Prevents them from getting any sort of info here. And FNX lone over towards the B-bomb site, but he's got a lot of players stacked around him that he could either distract or just try to throw back off here, as the entire bulk of the Immortals besides FNX are well over here towards A, getting ready to more likely just follow through with an execute here. And he's getting ready to pop that smoke back off, and they're going to head into the site. Only 2 here from the Renegades to defend it. One's going to get smoked back off, so that's JKS to make a decision. Does he go for this? Does he push into the site, or does he fall back? Or does he take up a spot up on top to try and hold this? And unfortunately, he takes the more passive option, so that's going to let Immortals flood back in really... Oh! Nice shot from Azur there, taking out Henny. And Steel as well, looking for one in mid, but not able to catch it. Now Lucas taking out Azur, trading that back down to a 4v4. Yustilo was hit pretty heavily too, down to 12 HP. I think that is the player that Steel was trying to shoot back at from mid.
FNX, this lurk is going to be very important. He's going to have to strike at the best possible time. And what does he do?
Strikes at the best possible time. Found Nexa. Should have gotten Nifty too, but he got decent damage on him. He's down to like a 3rd HP, so Lucas gonna have no problem finishing him off. Last one alive, JKS. Bolts follows through, and there you go. That's Immortals with control. As long as they don't get eco'd here, then they're in a really good position to just control this map.
Yeah, this should be an easy win for Immortals from here on out. Renegades not playing their best CS right now, just looking discouraged. I mean, and you should be discouraged.
Yeah.
You got kind of crushed to the land. You come and you get crushed right now, and you can't win any consecutive rounds in a row. It's pretty discouraging. Losing both pistols, it's rough. It's rough out here for Renegades. You know what's not rough? The Spurs did beat the Rockets.
Okay.
In case you were wondering.
There we go. Well, now Steel pushing himself forward here over towards Connector. He's found him. Frag on the Nifty. Pushing back Yustilo as well. He's just going to be hiding on the right side here, just outside of the smoke, trying to take some duels, but ultimately things are not looking good with Immortals taking back control and getting 2 kills to stack on top of it. This was the one round that Renegades really had a chance to fight back in and hopefully run themselves on a comeback play, but at the moment it's not really panning out. And after they don't find any fights back over here by Connector, they do just swing it over to B, where the site is wide open with the dispatchment of Nexa, and just JKS stays alive here, who's been spotted by Bolts now. So let's focus on taking him out, although JKS wins that first battle on Bolt Steel. At the cat position though, trades him right back out, and Immortals do avoid getting eco'd, putting themselves up to 14.
Yeah, Renegades just not much of a chance here, man. Not much of a chance this game. Just barely even had guns. You feel like you played like 4 gun rounds if you're Renegades. It's just this game just flew by you. And they do opt for the full save, wanting to get at least something, you know, where they can have some M4s, have some half armor and some nades.
It has to suck as well with, like, you know, when they, like we talked about the individual plays that kept happening for Immortals in the last half as well. The problem is, right, they get themselves a good round going. They think like, oh, this is great, we got site control, we're gonna win out here. But then someone just comes in and picks up like a 4K out of absolutely nowhere, and it's like, well, this sucks. Those
big plays that Immortals or players are capable of. And that's what I always talk about with these guys, man. Immortals, they just have these players who can make these big plays. They just do, like, all 5 of them. All 5 of them. I think Steel is probably a little bit to a lesser extent when he has M4s, but whenever he has like a CZ or like a UMP or like a Mag 7, he makes these massive plays, especially on the CT side. And then, you know, the rest of them, obviously, right? Henny, ridiculous plays. FNX, Bolts is like the best turret. One of the best turret. Like, you just put this guy somewhere and just say, just kill people. I swear he'll just get like a 3K every time.
Well, now one round stands between Immortals and Dallas, and they started off quite well. Nifty able to trade one back, bringing us into a 4v4, but Immortals get site control, and they've got a clean path to a plant. They're losing players, though. Nifty gets himself a second kill now, but utility has been enough to push the Immortals back. They just threw like 3 or 4 mollies out towards Connector, so that's definitely going to keep them at bay for a few extra seconds here. Bolt's taking a bit of a risk, though, and getting this aggressive, but it's panning out. He did massive damage to one player, then picked up a kill in a second. That's Nifty finally dispatched up. Bolt's pushing back up to the steps, gets himself another one. Will finally be countered back out by Nexus. This is brought into another 2v2 scenario, but both Nexus and Azar have to try and push back out. They don't have a kit. They don't really have a whole lot of utility, and there you go. Henny sinks 2 more kills, and we have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is our second team going to Dallas. It'll be the Immortals as they claim this first map, and still with one more map to be played out this evening.
Yeah, just pretty dominant performance by them, and Renegades not looking so hot there. Just completely dismantled. Pretty easy for Immortals. I mean, our analysis does. They got to have a lot of stuff brewing for us. A lot to talk about there that we probably missed. Vendetta, he's just eager.
He's hyped.
He's hyped.
so without...
I just had some coffee. I don't know what was in it, man, but it brightened up my mood. It's Hawaiian coffee, just...
All right,
maybe mixed with something that's not... I don't know.
With that said, we have our second team for Dallas. No North American teams are secured yet. But we do have a second Brazilian team. Let's send it over to the analysts so they can break down this first map.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about that coffee because I feel like that's something we could really go in depth with rather than this match.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty much all we can go in depth with, and I think Renegades could use a sip or two. That was not great. That was not great. So the woes for Renegades and Mirage continue. I think their last 4 games on Mirage now, they've gotten at the best 6 rounds.
That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, well, all things relative, right? Like, it's better than 1 round, right?
Yeah.
No, but
6 is better than 1. That is true.
Yeah, math. No, but it's been rough. But you know, in this kind of scenario, I think it's more down to the fact that Immortals, they do play, you know, somewhat aggressively CT side. That does make it hard to play just a very passive standard cookie cutter default kind of play style from Renegade side, and also, you know, there is unfortunate happenings. You saw that a couple of times when they went towards B, for instance, they get into a favorable after plant situation, and all of a sudden, these massive individual plays that both Blue and Daze talked about happen from Immortal side, and you can't really account for that. You've done more or less everything correct up to that point if you're Renegades, but it just doesn't pan out.
There's the chance that Immortals are just extremely warmed up from this weekend at the Showdown series.
This is very possible. I mean, and in addition to that, obviously we saw them play really well versus Luminosity, but they had a really shaky game versus the mixed team Top Gun.
Yes.
In that where it ended 16-3 on Mirage. We were like, what the hell is going on? This is normal. A team like Immortals should be doing a lot better, but you know, obviously they show that they can do quite a bit better, you know, when they're put to the task. And for Renegades, they're kind of continuing their form from IM Sydney. But you know, wouldn't put it past that. Obviously, traveling for 20 hours is going to take a bit of a toll on you.
Please, it's not that bad. Drink some water. Get out there. I'm kidding. It's rough. Jet lag's a real thing. I remember one time, Shroud told me he didn't believe in jet lag. It was actually quite comical.
Is that
that was preceded by another story, which we're not going into on this broadcast.
Please tell me this was like the first time Shroud went on an international event with you guys, like not like half a year into it or something.
Well, actually, I think this would have been the first international trip I took with the team too. So they went to Cologne and they came back, and then I went to every tournament with them after that.
All right, yeah.
This was.
He would find out that jet lag is indeed a real thing.
This was a country somewhere near the Mediterranean. Let's put it that way. Not to allude to any clues, but nonetheless, not a whole lot to talk about there. Renegades obviously getting that big L, like probably the biggest L of the night so far.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty majestic loss.
And yeah, on the other side of things, you've definitely got an Immortals going to Dallas now. Punch their ticket; they're going to be there. So make sure you get your tickets. If you want to go meet the Immortals, I'm sure they will meet you. So grab your tickets. ProLeague.com/Dallas. 100% a real thing. And actually, let's just keep sellout mode going because I feel like I'm on a rhythm right now. In case you don't know how that went, that they secured their spot into Dallas. Like in case you missed every matchup, make sure you head over to YouTube.com.
Exactly.
What's the slash?
/ESLCS.
Yeah, ESLCS. That's the one. YouTube.com, ESLCS. Go there. Watch the VOD of that previous matchup. And,
watch all of Immortals games. Just be prepared for Dallas. Like if the other teams, opponents, any EPL can't figure out Immortals, maybe you can. Did you get a coaching role, start winning some tournaments, and it all starts on that YouTube channel.
Sign a record deal, drop a mixtape, all kind of weird stuff happens.
Get your own shoe line.
Oh, your own shoe line. Hey, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go into Immortals and Renegades on Cash. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back at the ESL Pro League.